We start with video number 2. My first question, Madhumita ji, is that there are important aspects relating to seabed mining, and there may well be disputes between the member states. So, what are the provisions with regard to resolution of disputes with the area of in the context of seabed mining?
Thank you for your question. Now, dispute resolution is covered under part 15 of the UNCLOS. So, the International Tribunal for Law of the Sea, which is situated in Hamburg, has the jurisdiction in terms of any disputes arising with regard to the area or any activity in the area. There is a special seabed disputes chamber that has been created, and fortunately today our Indian judge Dr. Justice Neeru Chadha is the president of the Seabed Disputes Chamber, and we are very proud of it. Now, till date Seabed Dispute Chamber has given only one advisory opinion to the International Seabed Authority as provided in the mining code, which is in the stages of finalization. The LTC and Council session just concluded on 31st March at International Seabed Authority Secretariat in Kingston, Jamaica, and they are in the advanced stages of the discussion, and that mining code has put it very clearly that all contractors who would be sponsored through their respective states, by states I mean sovereign states, will be subject to the jurisdiction of the International Seabed Disputes Chamber under the UNCLOS with regard to resolution of all disputes between the parties, and the decision of these disputes by the Seabed Disputes Chamber shall be final and binding on the parties and enforceable against them.
Thanks for that. My next question has 3 elements. Number 1, for the students, what are the job opportunities if they want to specialize in seabed authority? Secondly, while in law college, where should they go and intern? And thirdly, according to you, this subject should be taught in which semester, say, of a 5-year law degree course?
3 very important questions. To answer your first question, now let me make it very clear. When we are talking of part 11 of the UNCLOS, that is the area with special reference to International Seabed Authority, it is not just law that comes into play. It is law, it is management, it is technology, and it is international diplomacy. So, students from all these backgrounds can have a career in the International Seabed Authority, and law students want to ramify into these careers subsequently after studying law. You also would have an opportunity to work with the United Nations International Seabed Authority. Now, coming to the next question, intern. Now, internship would depend again upon the interests. Specifically, if one wants to intern with International Seabed Authority, they have internship opportunities. As on date, these internship opportunities are available online on their website. I would request all of you to peruse the website of International Seabed Authority, which is isa.org.jm. It is a very, very informative, exhaustive and dynamic website, and you can apply for internships, but these internships with UN are unpaid. Secondly, if you have technical interests, the Ministry of Earth Sciences, Government of India is the nodal ministry for dealing with seabed resources beyond national jurisdiction, that is beyond our exclusive economic zone. India's continental shelf has yet not been declared, as we all know. It is under adjudication by the Continental Shelf Commission. So, we are talking of areas beyond national jurisdiction, means areas beyond 200 nautical miles. And the Ministry of Mines is the nodal ministry for seabed resources, mining protection for areas within national jurisdiction, that is the exclusive economic zone of India. Therefore, if you are talking of understanding and appreciating how to go into the domain of seabed resources in India, we have the National Institute of Ocean Technology, NIOT Chennai, who is involved in development of technology to support seabed resources, and they are doing very advanced research in this domain. We have the Institute of Material and Technology, IMMT Bhubaneswar. They are doing the studies pertaining to processing of the minerals and the polymetallic nodules, polymetallic sulfides that are taken out from the ocean. Then we have National Center for Polar and Ocean Research in Goa, NCPOR we call it. They are involved again in advanced research going on the sea with their vessels, both in the Central Indian Ocean Basin as well as in the Indian Ocean region. In the Central Indian Ocean Basin, we are doing research for polymetallic nodules, and in the Indian Ocean, we are doing research for polymetallic sulfides. India does not have a contract for cobalt rich ferromanganese crust. That is also one aspect of seabed mining. We also have National Institute of Oceanography, Goa. They are also involved in the research. So, these are organizations where you can look into internships to know more about the technical and research related aspects. Of course, in India, no law school yet is teaching this subject, but recently I have been instrumental in getting a letter of cooperation signed between Gujarat National Law University and the International Seabed Authority to take forward the academic interests of students in the subject of law of the sea.
Thank you. The third part was that if this subject was to be introduced in the curriculum, where do you think out of the 5 years law degree, where should it be taught? In which semester roughly? Means the student should have prior background of say criminal law or law of tort, then only they should study this. I would look forward to your answer to that.
The student should have a background of public international law, because this is a domain of public international law, and therefore, with a background of public international law, whenever the Bar Council syllabus permits it, this subject should be taught subsequent to that.
Okay.
And also as a specialization with advanced inputs at LLM level.
Thank you. That is very helpful. Now, my third question has 4 parts. Firstly, about the teaching pedagogy. Number 2, the faculty should assign what projects for the students to write a dissertation or a project report. Thirdly, what recommendation would you make with regard to the literature? And lastly, is there any case law?
Sir, first of all, to tell you as to what is the teaching pedagogy. Now, we have various books published today on law of the sea, some by our own Navy officers, and we have a few books by international law experts from Jawaharlal Nehru University. We have a few Western publications also, but each of these books, if you look at it, they were written at a time when seabed mining had not started. So, therefore, the focus is very theoretical and a lot of hypothesis involved. Today, you will see a lot of research papers published across the board. I would not specifically like to recommend any individual, because everybody, the Western scholars have their own thought process, the Indian scholars have their own thought process, and really speaking, the perspective is more of the maritime security rather than the commercialization of the seabed resources. And I would definitely recommend that you go through each and every document in the International Seabed Authority website. You will find multiple reports, the strategy plan, the work done, and the reports are really elaborate and very, very informative. Now, with regard to projects that could be allocated for dissertation, today the mining code is in the stages of finalization, and this has been a very transparent document in terms of its preparation, because not only in-house consultations were done, but it was open to the people at large at various stages to give their inputs. So, a good research on the expected mining code is very, very useful. The exploration code is already in place because exploration activities are taking place. So, a critical analysis of how it is going, how would the closure reports come into play in terms of the exploration code and the switch over to the mining code for exploitation. Besides the revenue to be shared, how is the International Seabed Authority suitably act as a custodian of the common heritage of mankind? These are very important areas of research, and also there could be an important area of research if the Ministry of Mines allocates blocks in the exclusive economic zone of India, laws have to be in place. How would these laws need to be synchronized with the mining code by International Seabed Authority in the areas beyond national jurisdiction? Also, law students could do extensive research on the international best practices that are available today in terms of domain of the oceans and its applicability to seabed mining laws, laws pertaining to environment and part 12, laws pertaining to marine scientific research under part 13, and technology transfer under part 14. These have to mature because these are all in the early stages of development and could provide great research inputs for LLM and doctoral students.
Thank you. Just a point about is there any case law to indicate as to the disputes between the parties, how were they resolved, or the case law is yet to sort of emerge?
So, there is no case law in terms of seabed disputes because it is only in the stage of exploration. Exploitation has not started. As I told you earlier, there is one advisory opinion given by the Seabed Disputes Chamber to the International Seabed Authority.
Thank you very much, Madhumita. It's been very useful, and in part 3 of the video, that's the next video, we would talk about the linkage with the constitution and other aspects. Thank you.
Thank you.